Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to the AdTech/TSR Facebook training with Anson Ashby. Anson, good evening. How are you?
I'm doing great, Joe. Happy to be on. Excited for today's call. We got some really good stuff to go over. So yeah, just excited. How are
Okay.
you?
I am great, thank you. And let me make a couple announcements before we get underway. One is some of you are experiencing logging into the breakfastclub.ws, and that image is now missing. It'll be back and maybe with a different image on there. So the platform is being changed around and the image is down, and so we'll be having that back up there. Number two, don't forget we made the announcement today that we will be, as of next week, starting the AdTech business presentation on a regular daily basis. For those people, you can bring people to it. It certainly doesn't mean that you can't show them other websites and other presentations such as the AdTech Gold or Friends and Family. But we made that decision that a long time ago that we were going to have that up there on a regular basis so people can get a different flavor as to the way we think about this business. So and helping others. So this is tonight a way, again, to help others. Anson Ashby, the CEO of Tools Rock, has agreed to help people build a database and show them how to do it. I think most people are unfamiliar with it on how to really build a database and using social media especially, so people end up buying leads. Nothing wrong with that if you know how to handle them. But I do believe we live in the 21st century and should be up to date on social media and how people are communicating and connecting on Facebook and LinkedIn. So tonight, part two. Anson, thanks for being here once again, and I'll turn it over to you, and I'm going to go on mute unless you need me, so I'll just click mute on and we'll be good to go.
Okay, yeah. You are good to go on mute, and if you do have to, any questions or comments, just go ahead and chime in as always. So let's go ahead and get started. This is actually our part 3 of our Facebook training, and this is one of my favorite parts of it because it's kind of the meat of your Facebook campaign, your Facebook marketing efforts, and that is the content. So let's go ahead. I'm just going to share my screen real quick. Okay. And Joe, actually, if you could just tell me when you can see my screen, and then you can mute yourself again.
All right, I see the screen.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. So
you can change. Let's make sure you're changing as we do this. If you need to go to another screen, let's just move along and see if that moves.
Okay, sure. Let me just go to another slide here real quick. Let me know if you see that.
Good. You're good to go. I'm
going. Okay, perfect. Okay, so the first time we went over kind of our Facebook strategy was really identifying the story that we wanted to tell, or the brand that we wanted to become, and then from there it was more of the functionality, like how do I load up a picture, how do I load up a cover, and how do I kind of set my timeline and edit my timeline and privatize my timeline. I know that was a question from some people. Was like, how do I make sure that certain people can see certain things and others can see other things. So that's really the foundation, right? That's kind of setting yourself up to now we can start to generate content, we can start to post things to people and really kind of build upon that story, because that your profile, your bio, your pictures, they do tell a story, but really it's what you say or what you share that tells a even more powerful story, and that's the content, right? That's what we're going to talk about today. So with that, let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to go over a few other things if we have time at the end, but there's really 4 kind of main areas that you want to involve in your content that you create on Facebook, right? So growing your network of influence and attracting people into your network is going to require you to put out content that does the following. Okay, one is it engages, and we're going to go over each one of these points. The other is it adds value, it's transparent, and it shows gratitude. Okay, so like I said, we're going to go over all 4 of those, but those are kind of when you're thinking about, hey, what should I put out there today? Use those 4 pillars as kind of your guides on one thing. Now, some of your posts can involve more, like they can show gratitude and they can add value, right? Or they can engage and they can be transparent. So they don't have to be, one and not the others. Okay, so let's talk about creating engaging content, right? That's the first thing. And engaging content is really content that is put out there to get people in your network to respond. Okay, so you want to ask questions, you want to ask for advice, you want to ask for an opinion. These are all things that people will then comment on. Okay, now if you guys understand that this is a pretty basic Facebook terminology or fact, is that when people engage with your content, your visibility grows tremendously. So if I put out there, hey, what did you guys think of last night's NCAA final? I thought that Wisconsin got hosed by the refs, and I get a bunch of comments back saying you're wrong, you're right, whatever that comment is. All that information, all those comments are showing up on people's timelines, and they're showing up at the top of people's timelines. So when somebody else who's not part of my network goes onto that person's timeline, it's going to be at the top, and my name's going to be up there, right? My name, who posted this question, is going to be at the top. Okay, so that's really important that you understand that, because engaging content that people respond to, really will spread your visibility tremendously. Okay, so I'm going to just real quick open up the chat here, or the chat, yeah. So if you guys have any questions about that, but that's really, really important. So engaging content. So let's go on to the next one. If you guys do have questions about that, just go ahead and type in the chat box there. The next one is valuable content. Okay, now valuable comes in many shapes and sizes and forms. So valuable is different for everybody. The kind of my rule of thumb is, if you improve somebody's day, you immediately become more attractive on Facebook. So how do you improve somebody's day? Well, you make them smile. That's going to improve their day. So that's providing value. So you can do that through information. Okay, whether it's information about, again, we got to keep in mind everything we've talked about before, right? The brand that we've created. What information are you putting out? But if it's aligned with everything that we've already created, and you're putting out that information, and somebody finds value in that, then of course they're going to be attracted to you. Okay, so you can provide information, you provide motivation and inspiration. Okay, humor, I mentioned that before. If somebody wakes up and they check their Facebook and they laugh at something that you put out there, well, that's improving their day, and that's making you more attractive. Okay, that's making you more connectable, right? They're going to say, hey, I really, this person seems, smart and funny, and I like their posts, and again, it's going to start to create that momentum. And then provide help, provide guidance. Okay, so those are really, like, in terms of value, and again, each one of these, motivation, inspiration, information, help, and humor, you can expand on. We could spend a day on kind of thinking up things that we could write about each one of those four. So again, this is kind of a guideline, a framework of when you are, you're sitting at your desk and you're like, okay, I'm gonna create my Facebook campaign. The content that you create needs to do one of these four things. Okay, and again, it can do more than just one of them, but it needs to do one of these four things. Nobody wants to hear about your sorrows or your plights or your frustrations, or they don't. Yes, of course, you may feel that stuff, but that's not what is going to make you attractive attractive to the right people. You may be attractive to some people, but it's not the people that you're looking for to build a business. If you complain about stuff and you argue about stuff, so that's also important to mention, is that we're creating a campaign to grow our business. We're not creating a campaign to connect with other depressed or miserable or angry people. We're here to create a campaign that is going to inspire people, that's going to want people to connect with you. Okay, so that's the approach that I'm taking as I'm kind of putting this framework together. Okay, so that's the content part of it, right? Valuable content, thing that will improve somebody's day. Okay, so hopefully you guys get that. Okay, there's a question that came in. Why don't let's jump on the questions at the end, because I know these are live, or they show up live, and so let's deal with the questions towards the end. So here's another one. Another topic is being transparent. Okay, letting people know who you are. So the world is getting flatter and flatter each day. And until brands, okay, so brand is you, the brand of you, learn to separate yourself from your competition, you'll continue to face the same issues as before. So an example of that is if you continue to talk about your opportunity, or talk about gold and pushing people towards carrot bars, you're not distinguishing yourself from all the other people in carrot bars that's doing that, or all the other people in MLM that's doing that. And you guys, I'm sure you've seen it. There's a lot of noise out there about get rich quick and make $500 a day with no effort, and automate it, and that's the noise that you're gonna put yourself into if you aren't transparent, if you don't let people get to know you. And the nice thing about Facebook is that you can share things that are somewhat personal, to let people kind of behind the curtain of who you are, you, the brand of Joe Shoup or Anson Ashby. This is people letting getting to know you, because at the end of the day, and I've mentioned this before on some of the other trainings, is that people join an opportunity partly because of the opportunity or the compensation, but a big part of that is because of the person they're joining with, or the team they're joining. And so getting them, or allowing them to get to know you, is very, very important. And the last kind of area of content that you should include as you're creating your marketing campaigns is gratitude. So gratitude is a very attractive quality. Okay, so as you're posting, and again, we're going to talk about we'll talk about how, when you post and how often you post, but some of your content should have an element of gratitude. Okay, I get very turned off by people that think they know everything, and that they created that, and that was their brainchild. I think thanking mentors, thanking family, thanking team members it's transparent, but it's also very humble. And humility and gratitude are very attractive. And again, we are creating a campaign here to attract people. We want people to like us, to want to be connected to us. And the next session, the next training session, is going to be about creating that strategy. So from kind of start to beginning, that strategy. And what you'll find is that when you start to connect with people on Facebook, and people that you don't know, right? So this is friends of friends, people that you went to school with, that you did a sporting event with, or whatever that is, but they don't know you intimately. They're going to want to see your content. They're going to want to see your brand. And so as you are creating this content, it's really important that gratitude become a portion of the information that you put out. Okay, so those 4 pillars, like I mentioned, let's go back here to our is engagement, right? Engaging, asking questions, asking opinion, asking advice, adding value, right? Improving somebody's day. Every time you put out some content, am I improving? Am I making them smile? Am I making them laugh? Am I providing them information that they can kind of think about, or maybe they can comment about? That's even better. Being transparent, again, allowing people to get to know you, right? And then gratitude. We just went over gratitude. So showing gratitude. Those are really the 4 pillars to create that magnetic persona on Facebook. And then the kind of the last things I want to go over here are, let me make sure. Okay, so yeah, what sells more? And this is pretty, understandable. It's if you are creating videos, that's going to sell more than if you're creating pictures, which is going to sell more if you're just writing text. Okay, and hopefully you guys have been on Facebook to kind of see what that looks like. But people have their news feeds and they skim through their news feeds. I skim through my news feeds, and if I see a video that is maybe looks funny or exhilarating, I will stop and I'll watch that video. Pictures are pretty similar. They're instantaneous. You see it. A lot of people do pictures with a quote on it, and you see it. You'll pause to see it, and then text can really be lost in the fold because people have, I don't know how many friends, and the friends are posting all the time, and so your news feed gets very busy. But what sells most, starting from 1 to 3, is videos, then pictures, then text. Okay, hopefully that's pretty self-explanatory. And the last part is timing. Okay, so this is something that is important because what you want to do if you're going to get serious about creating a Facebook campaign, and I say campaign in the sense of you're gonna kind of put yourself out there to start to connect with people, and people are going to connect with you, and you're going to start to generate. It can be super powerful. Don't get me wrong. This can be overwhelming. There's so many people on Facebook, and if you do this right, if you go kind of step by step through what we've gone through, it can be tremendously powerful. So the timing is you need to be present at least 1 time per day in generating content on Facebook. Okay, at least 1 time per day. That way, people start to see you more often, more and more often. They want to get to know you. They want to just get a feel of who you are before they're going to ever really say, hey, yeah, I'm going to buy your product, right, or I'm going to join your team. So I would say do at least 1 time a day, and then no more than 10 times a day. Now, 10 times a day, if you are great at writing content, is easy, right? Not a lot of people, not everybody's great at writing content, but if you're great at writing content, you can post 10 times per day. Okay, make sure that you separate those posts differently, right? You're not going to do 10 all in the same half hour, but if you're going to spread it out over the day, 10 is, and you have unique content whenever you do it. 10 times a day is a good number. Now, the other part is the topics by day and the time of day. Okay, and this is the area where people have the biggest challenge because they're so drawn to saying, look at my home-based business, Karatbars is awesome, and then saying that over and over and over, okay? But that is absolutely not, if you do that, you're dead in the water, okay? So what you want to do is if you're going to post, you want literally 10% to 15% of your post to be about your business. And when I mean about your business, you're not mentioning your business name. You're never mentioning your business name. You could do a post about home-based business, about your team growing, about your changes in your savings portfolio. Those are business topics. Okay, you don't ever mention your business name or your company name. But yeah, you really want to create content that most of it, 90 to 85% of it is aside from the actual business. Okay, now this gets a little bit cloudy for people because they're like, all right, now I'm all confused, or I was supposed to create a brand and now I can only talk about my brand 15% of the time. That's not true because the brand is you. The brand isn't Karatbars. It's not MLM. It's you. So when I say 15% should be about promoting your business, that 15%, like I mentioned, is about working from home. Okay, people aren't stupid. When you say I work from home, they kind of get a sense that you're probably in an MLM. Okay, or if your team is growing, it's probably because you're in an MLM. So that's why you want to just keep that to about 10 to 15% of your post. And then you also want to mix up your topics. So we went over those 4 pillars of value, of gratitude, and I can't remember the other 2. Let's see here. Value, engaging, transparency, and gratitude. So you want to mix those up, right? You don't want to thank people every post. You don't want to, unless you're really funny and can come up with this content, you don't want to, create humor every post, unless that, of course, is your brand and you're the funny person on Facebook. But you want to mix it up, okay? Because you're trying to get, you're trying to give people a full picture of kind of who you are. And so again, the number of posts, at least once a day. If you're going to do this and you're going to be serious about it, put out something once a day. Okay, and then again, don't do more than 10 a day. And then in terms of the topics, keep the business talk to 10 to 15%, and then mix up the topics. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. So with that, we can review this, or we can go to Q&A. And Joe, if you have anything that you want me to touch on specifically, then just let me know.
Well, I'm just learning a lot as well. I'm just thankful that you're here. I don't have any questions. I think we were through this training before. We offered this. You did this for us before many months ago, maybe a year ago, and some of it is refreshing a little bit, being refreshed with. But I'm excited about it because I see something a little different on Facebook. I've always been afraid of Facebook and things like that,
Right, and I'm glad you brought that up, Joe, because a lot of people are, right? A lot of people are afraid of exposing themselves, afraid of, what privacy they can have. But unless like if you're putting out good stuff, then you're going to get good stuff back, right? If you're putting out value, inspiration, motivation, humor, gratitude, those are all good things. And so just the law of the universe dictates that you're going to get good stuff back. You're going to get good feedback. You're going to attract good people. And where I feel people get a little bit caught up is they do want to, they want to express the negativity at times, right? If there's a topic that comes up, I want to share my opinion about that topic, or I want to tell them how wrong they are. And that's where you can get in a little bit of a trouble is when you start to express that. And while that may be your reality, your Facebook reality doesn't have to reflect that. So being positive, showing gratitude, adding value, that will without a doubt generate good connections and eventually good prospects that you can talk to and then grow your business. And that's what this is all about, right? This is a training about how you grow your business. I'm not here to talk about how you become more popular on Facebook. It's about how you grow your business. And if you've planned out your brand and what you want to be and the story you want to tell, you set up your profile and your pictures and your bio to reflect that, and then you start to generate content that is positive and that's motivating people and inspiring people, making them laugh, educating them. Then you will have success with this.
Anson, let me ask if anybody has any questions up there in the chat. If you want to ask some questions before we go. I have that chat box is open to the public and private and so on. So if you have any questions, What is that one question? How specific can you be? What was that referring to?
That came early on. If the person that wrote that, Mary, do you want to maybe expand on that? So that I think that came early on, and I'm not sure where. So if you can just expand on that, I will definitely review that.
Any other questions you want to post here? It takes a little bit for them sometimes to get on here. We don't see them right away. Other people see them immediately. Okay, she hasn't. She's got.
Okay, great. And so one of the things I just want to go over, we're going to do one more training on Facebook, and that's going to be starting to reach out and starting to generate a following. And there's some real specific things you can do with that. But I want to make sure that, from the first training to today, that everybody kind of understands the sequence of it, right? So why we went over creating the brand, and then actually going into a Facebook account and putting the pictures in and creating that bio, to now creating the content. And then the next part is connecting with people and start to reach out to people. And it's important that you follow the steps and that you start to actually create the content regardless of who sees it or who you connect with. Because that part is going to be, once we decide, okay, we want to connect with these types of people and reach out to these types of people, the content and that brand, if that part isn't all there, there's a lot of people that that won't connect with you, right? If you say, hey, I want to be friends with this person. They seem like they're a leader in a network marketing company. I want to be connected to them and start to share with them my opportunity. But the important thing is that all those steps that we've talked about to this point need to be in place before you start to make those connections.
How about Wayne's question there?
Okay, so how do I remove groups and still have access to them? Why do they show on new? Why do they show? So if you remove a group, I don't believe you can't have access to them after you remove them. Okay. Why do they show on your news feed but not on my page? They should show up on your page. You probably need to scroll down a little bit more. But yeah, if you're involved in a group on Facebook, that'll show up on your profile, your timeline. Not your news feed, but your timeline. There's a difference there. Joe, do you want to answer Ronnie's question?
Let's see. Came in late. These calls are always on one of two places. They're on YouTube, number one. They're either under Joe Shoup or they're under Mark Stevens. If I open the call, which most of the time it's me opening the call, you will find all of those recordings on YouTube under search my name, and you'll see me on the bike, and you'll see all the recordings there. It's always there, no matter whether it's the Breakfast Club or any other call we do. They're all recorded on YouTube under Joe Shoup or Mark Stevens, and under Mark Stevens, to find him, since there's so many Mark Stevens, it's under, just type in Mark Stevens, The Breakfast Club. And Mark's, sometimes the videos are there.
Yeah, so I would say you could find them on YouTube. More than likely under Joe Shoup, but if not under Mark.
Okay, well, it looks like we don't have any more questions. Unless you quickly put them up, we don't see them, but let's just conclude with this. Thanks, Anson. I appreciate you taking the time to come here. I know it's later at night for you and the East Coast. It's only 7:30 here, 6:30 here at our time. So
absolutely.
But I appreciate that, and we'll see you on Friday morning, I think. Are you here on Friday morning?
Yes, Friday morning works for me. Friday at 11?
Friday at 11 a.m., yes.
Friday, I can't do Friday. I can do Thursday.
Thursday. Well, then we'll go Thursday. There we go. Anson will be back Thursday morning, answer some questions, do a little more training. And Anson, if you would stay on the call when I close the broadcast, I just want to go over one thing with you.
Absolutely.
Okay, everybody, have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow on the Breakfast Club. Hope this all helps. It should. Anson, great job. I'm really excited. This is really clear. It's very, very, very clear, and people should be able to follow this pretty simply. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody.